The wind on Risa 4 didn't blow, it scraped. It carried a fine red grit that sounded like a handful of nails tossed against corrugated steel. The whole outpost sang in that ugly pitch. A lonely tower where bolts learned to complain and a man learned to talk back. 8 seconds won't kill us, Jax Monroe muttered, leaning into a panel that smelled like burnt copper and cheap coffee. Probably, the stabilizer hummed. Somewhere in the ducts a fan coughed like an old smoker. Out here at Station K-17, the job was simple. Keep the pumps alive, keep the heat exchangers from sulking, keep yourself from thinking too hard about how far home had drifted. Then the radar pinged. One high, clean note that didn't belong to this place. He stepped to the viewport. A dark streak scratched the horizon, trailed by ribbons of burning air, not a meteor. A lifeboat coming in sideways, shearing the sky with bad luck and worse guidance. Jax grabbed a breather hood and a pry bar and went out into the scrape. He found the capsule half buried in the slope below the antenna yard. Its skin scored, the hatch cracked like a bitten coin. He burned his palms working the seal. It gave with a wet sigh and a little hiss of cold. Inside, a woman. Not human. Close enough to confuse you in the poor light, far enough to stop you when the lamp found her face. Her skin was a storm gray with faint lines beneath, like threads of light asleep under glass. Her breathing came in shallow pulls. Her eyes were the wrong kind of beautiful, clear, steady, assessing. "Don't move," Jax said. "Or do, just pick one and I'll keep up." Her mouth tilted. "1 hour," she whispered. Sanctuary, he shouldn't have touched her. He did anyway, 2 fingers to the pulse at her throat. It jumped under his skin like a live wire. For a second, it felt like someone tapping a rubber mallet against the inside of his ribs. A hollow drum in his chest picking up a rhythm that wasn't his. She saw it. Her lashes flickered once. No smile, no thanks. Just a tiny nod. Warrior or stranger, he couldn't tell which. And then she went heavy in his arms. By the time he got her into the med alcove, K-17 had opinions. The floors gave a tiny shiver. Dust loosened from a seam. The red grit outside hissed harder at the walls like the planet was warning him. Don't. He sealed the door and patched what he could. Her wounds were clean cuts and bruises, the kind you earn from violent landings and harder departures. He set the auto stitch to its slow, careful song. She watched him like a problem she meant to solve. "What's your name?" he asked, silence, then guessed. "That's not how names work. It is safer." "Maybe," he said. "But it's going to be awkward when I have to yell for you to duck." A breath that might have been a laugh. "Then call me." "Hayes." "Fine, Hayes. I'm Jax. You bought an hour." After that, we argue about the bill. Something moved under the outpost. Not footsteps, not machinery. A low, ceremonial thump very far away and very large, like a temple drum struck beneath the sand. Hayes' eyes sharpened. It woke. What did? "The judge you buried here. Your kind called them Sentinels." She tried to sit, failed, and caught his wrist to steady herself. Heat bloomed where she held him. His pulse leapt to meet it. She felt it anchor, then let go as if she'd touched a switch. It measures alliances. It punishes contamination. Jax glanced at the wall display. New glyphs crawled across the UI. Old military shapes the outpost had never used. A flat voice, distorted by age, crackled through the overhead. "Unauthorized, conquered. Human unit flagged. Social contagion risk." "That's rude," Jax said. "And wrong." "It doesn't do wrong," Hayes said softly. "It does verdict. If you shelter me, it will cut this tower from its pylons and let the dunes do the rest." Another thump, closer. The shelves shivered. A ratchet danced an inch and fell with a bright, stupid sound. "Then we make it listen," Jax said. "You can't out-argue a machine made to judge." "Good," he said, standing. "I wasn't planning to argue. I was planning to cheat." The tool locker yielded a box of harmonic spheres from an old drilling rig, a cracked compression pipe, 3 spools of cabling, and a filter array so clogged he'd sworn at it last week. He dragged it all into the center of the common room and started laying out lines like a man tuning a stubborn instrument. Hayes watched, pale light tracing along the lines under her skin as if echoing her heart. When she stood to help, her breath caught. Jax instinctively reached out. His hand found her shoulder. Contact again. Cool warmth, skin that answered, his chest drum picking up. She steadied and stayed close enough to make him aware of exactly where she was. Close enough to focus him. "What are you building?" she asked. "A lie that sounds like a treaty," Jack said. He wedged the compression pipe between two brackets and tied the cable across it until it hummed when he plucked it. "Old Sentinels aren't philosophers. They're archivists with guns. You feed them the right song. They go looking for the book that matches. You think you can mimic an extinct Concorde. I think I can make it hesitate." He wired the spheres to the ventilation frame, turned the fans until they whispered through the holes at odd intervals, then tuned the ducting with offcuts and his own impatience until the room breathed in a rhythm that wasn't quite natural. The tower became an instrument with a bad sense of humor and a perfect ear for pressure. "Activate," the outpost announced in its half-dead voice. Jax pulled a lever. Air shifted. The spheres sang, a thin, glassy tone that grew and braided with the fan's pulse and the duct's hollow note. Wasn't music, not really. It was a statement with vowels he hoped the machine would recognize. The floor trembled. The red outside went quiet, listening. "Anomaly," the Sentinel said. "Signal, concordata truce pattern, corrupted source." Hayes's eyes went wide. "That ritual was lost before my mother's mother. Guess it just needed a terrible musician," Jack said. For a long breath, nothing. Then new text scrolled across the display, lazy as law. "Cross-check, seek reciprocity." "What does that mean?" Jax asked. Hayes's fingers curled on the bed's edge. "It wants cost. Proof both sides are risking something." He looked at the outpost's core. If he killed the primary reactor, he'd lose grid stability, heat reserve, and months of output. He'd invite a reprimand, then a demotion, then a slow starvation of budget that meant no more spare parts or coffee strong enough to make your hands shake. He reached for the main lever. "Jax," Hayes said. "Not a warning. Question. Sanctuary's only a word if it costs nothing," he said. He threw it. The tower exhaled. Lights dropped to emergency. Heat retreated into the walls like an animal that had learned a lesson. Outside, the dune wind changed pitch, softer around the edges. Silence